You will have tough times in life. And when people suffer, we don't always get it right. Let's face it, you live in a fallen world, and everything in it has fallen from perfection. Inside of you is a deceitful and desperately wicked heart. Everyone around you was born with this same nature. And one of the most challenging things to do is to learn to navigate life without allowing life's problems to get the best of us. Yes, you will suffer. It's inevitable. But you must not let suffering put your soul in danger. Let me share with you what Yah has taught me, so that hardship does not cause you to turn your back on Him. You must understand who your enemy is, recognize his tactics, and respond in a way as not to allow suffering to contaminate your soul. Pain, sorrow, rejection, grief, all can become gateways for sin. And if you don't guard yourself from seeds that ought not take root in your heart or mind, then by default you will forfeit eternity with Yah. You must learn the tactics of the enemy so that you can protect your heart. And for this, let us turn to the book of Job. Job was a man of integrity. He feared Yah. He was a rich man, the greatest man in the East, with land, servants, cattle, and more. He loved Elohim so much that he would offer burnt offerings to the Most High for his 7 sons and 3 daughters, just in case any of them had sin in their hearts. Having background about Job's character and his possessions gives more context for us to start reading from Job chapter 1, verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yah, and Satan came also among them. And Yah said unto Satan, Whence cometh thou? Then Satan answered Yah and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Here we see Satan admitting that he spends much time traveling the earth. Even though he was able to present himself before Yah, his intense focus is on those who live in earth. Satan is studying you. He is learning you. He's looking at your trends, patterns, and tendencies to see how he can defeat you. Verse 8. And Yah said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth Elohim and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered Yah and said, Doth Job fear Elohim for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the works of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. It's obvious that Satan did not just take a passive glimpse at Job, but he is prowling. If he was casually looking, he probably would not have noticed the extent of the barrier. But Satan is focused and locked in his study of Job. He has analyzed Job's hedge and knows that the hedge exists around Job, around his house, and is positioned on every side. This is because the enemy is looking for an entry point. But Elohim set boundaries that Satan could not cross. Here we learn more about the undefeatable power of Yah. Yes, Satan is studious in his attack, but the Most High can create barriers that Satan cannot cross. It is in verse 11 that Satan reveals his objective. He states, "But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face." Please remember this verse. It is vital that we understand his objective. Moving on, verse 12. And Yah said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon him put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yah. Here we get another glimpse at the supreme authority of the Most High. Yes, the enemy can make requests to Elohim, but Elohim sets the boundaries. Let's continue to read. Verse 13. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans fell upon them, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. We find that Satan uses people to accomplish his goals. Here, an entire group of people are open to the suggestions and directions of the enemy to join and steal Job's oxen and asses and kill all of the servants in that area, leaving only one to tell the story. Verse 16. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The fire of Elohim is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Building upon the previous verse, not only does Satan use human beings to accomplish his goal, he is very strategic in whom he chooses, especially in trying times. This servant is the only one that the fire did not consume. And what does the servant do? This servant does not say that fire fell down from the sky, but instead declares that the fire of Elohim came down, implying that Elohim was involved in this catastrophe. Digressing, we must remember that Satan had studied this servant too. He knew the tendencies and the heart posture of this servant. By design, Satan chose the one who would mention Elohim, in hopes of planting a seed in Job's mind that everything he is going through is because of Yah. Doesn't this theme echo what we've heard throughout our lives? So many people blame the Most High for every tragedy. But let's move on. Verse 17. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. This is the second time we see the involvement of nature to accomplish the enemy's goals. First, it was fire that burned the servants and the sheep. Now we see the involvement of the wind. All of these events happening in one day reiterates that the enemy is clever and strategic. To arrange for such a plethora of events to happen in 24 hours takes skill, experience, patience, and determination. Job received notice that he lost his social status, riches, servants, and children all in the same day. Satan was determined to hit Job hard. Verse 20. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. Yah gave, and Yah hath taken away. Blessed be the name of Yah. Despite the servant implying that Elohim was the one orchestrating these misfortunes, that the one Job had served and offered sacrifices to all his life had betrayed his loyalty, Job did not blame Yah. Instead, he worshiped him. Verse 22. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged Elohim foolishly. Because of the relationship that Job had with Elohim, because of his faith in Elohim, Job offered the sacrifice of worship, which was the total opposite of what Satan had planned. We know this because Satan revealed his end goal in verse 11 when he stated, But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. The enemy wanted Job to curse Elohim. Brothers and sisters, the objective for Satan is not to make your life painful. That's not why he wants to hurt you so badly. His objective is not just to make you suffer, feel neglected, or traumatize you. That's not what he's all about. It's not just about making your life miserable. That's never been his goal. He is not after your life. He is after your soul. There's a difference. And we are so often stuck in our emotions, seeking for empathy or feeling sorry for ourselves, that we ignore the fact that the enemy's purpose isn't just for you to cry. It's for you to curse Elohim. Just like Job, the enemy attempts to cause you pain for the purpose of planting seeds in your heart that will contaminate the purity of your soul. The enemy has studied human beings for decades. He knows that hurt people hurt people. He knows that pain often turns to bitterness, hatred, anger, and emotions, or a mindset that is opposite of a pure heart. The goal wasn't just to kill Job's children. The goal wasn't to make him poor. It was to create a division in the relationship that he had with the Most High by causing pain to plant emotions that would contaminate the heart. Because suffering does not send you to hell, but the wrong heart posture during suffering can. It's the separation and disconnection from Elohim that we so often embrace during trials that leads to eternal damnation. Satan wants to constantly plant seeds and make you question Elohim's goodness, blame Yah, hate Yah, or misunderstand who Yah really is in your trials. It's a total sneak attack. And if we dwell on those things and the things that we lost, what we are going through, and how we feel, we create an entryway for the enemy to plant seeds of anger, bitterness, strife, malice, hatred, unforgiveness, all in our hearts. While we are focused on what he did, what she said, how we feel, how it hurt, the pain it caused, Satan is trying to plant seeds that will keep your soul from gaining eternity with the Most High. Again, it's a sneak attack, but people are so blind that they do not even see it. For Job, cursing Elohim would have been a symptom of complete loss of faith in him. It represented a disconnection. Again, the enemy is not after your life. His interest is not just to watch you endure emotional pain. He is after your soul. Divorce, molestation, rape, neglect, mistreatment, trauma. All of these things are horrible and causes unexplainable suffering. I cannot minimize the degree of sorrow that happens in so many life events. But we must remember, being raped does not send you to hell. Neglect, molestation, divorce, trauma, grief, death does not send you to hell. What gets you to hell is the seed of unforgiveness. Satan is not after making you suffer. That's not his greatest desire for your life. He wants to plant the seed of unforgiveness in your heart to where your heart says, I don't forgive the person who raped me. I don't forgive the person who committed adultery. I can't forgive them for the way they made me feel. Because the seed of unforgiveness can continue to grow and contaminate your soul. It can even blossom into hatred and foster its own demonic atmosphere. Abused, overlooked, lied on, those things cause pain. But pain doesn't send you to hell. But the seed of hatred, hating those who did something to you, who treated you that way, this seed, along with the seeds of anger and unforgiveness, often join together and contaminates your soul and will affect your eternity. Heartache, misfortune, they cause sorrow. But sorrow doesn't get you sent to hell. It's the seed of bitterness. Bitterness towards Elohim because life didn't happen the way that you wanted it to happen. The seed can grow in your heart and keep you from eternity with the Most High. Then there is another side to this. Remember when Satan said that he checked the entire hedge? Well, if he can't get you through hardship, he comes at you a different way. He may come through your talent, beauty, intellect, and accolades, achievements, riches, fame, power, popularity. These things do not send you to hell. It's the seed of arrogance, the seed of pride, the seed of disobedience. Those are the things that get people sent to hell. This is one of the reasons why we must work out our own soul salvation with fear and trembling. We cannot steer to the right or to the left, because either way, the enemy wants to plant seeds that create a heart posture that keeps us separated from Yah. Let me tell you my testimony. Some time ago, I went through a tough time in life. I felt mistreated. I called my sister and told her about what had happened. I called my sister-in-law and told her about it too. Then I called and told my brother. I was looking for affirmation because I knew I was innocent in the situation. When I went to call someone again, Yah told me, stop watering that seed. Because every time I told someone about it, I was watering the seed of bitterness. And when that person's comfort wasn't enough for me, I called someone else to see if their pity would satisfy me. But I was never satisfied. But along with looking for satisfaction, I was reliving the feelings of betrayal, hurt, pain, sorrow that came with the situation. I was watering the seed over and over, and the Most High showed me that those seeds of bitterness were not growing because of the person who had mistreated me. They were growing because of me. The very thing that Satan was trying to plant in me that could have easily been scooped out because I did not give it any root. I was now burying it, watering it, and making sure it was attended to because of my behavior. My blood was on my own hands because I would not let it go. What they did to me would not have gotten me sent to hell, but my heart, how I reacted, could have gotten me sent there. The sneak attack. Satan knew my tendencies. He studied my habits. He knew with great probability how I would react in the situation. How foolish and naive was I? I was aware of the tactics of the enemy, yet because of my emotions, I let him influence me. This is why I am sharing my experience with you, so that we can overcome and so that we can heal together. Job endured unimaginable suffering, but if you read to the end, he is blessed beyond measure. The gospel, or the good news in Job's story, is this. Yes, there were hedges. There were hedges around him. There was a hedge around his house and on all that he had on every side. And Satan was given permission to penetrate those exterior hedges. But the one thing that Satan did not think of, but that the Most High already knew, was that there was still a hedge. And the hedge that Job had was not around his possessions, was not around those exterior things, but it was around his heart. That hedge is the Ruach. We also have a hedge because Elohim gave us his Ruach. And this hedge is non-negotiable. Elohim does not negotiate and say that Satan can take that hedge from us. Yah may allow Satan to take all of the external hedges away, but there is still a hedge if you have his spirit. Yah knows if we have his spirit, the enemy cannot penetrate it. We will not curse Yah. We will not go down, because the Most High gave us a hedge that Satan cannot touch. There is still a hedge. You may endure hardship continuously in life, but Elohim still has a hedge about you. Satan cannot penetrate that force field, and it is not up for negotiation. That boundary is your protection and your guard so that you may enter eternity. The only one that can give up that hedge is you. You'd have to forfeit that hedge. Satan cannot take it away. You would have to give it away. But if you hold on to that hedge and be a good steward of your heart, mind, and soul, all of these things, all of these seeds that Satan wants to plant can't take root. He cannot contaminate your soul because of your hedge. And this hedge, Yah's Ruach, is the greatest of hedges, because the exterior hedges cannot save your soul. Job's riches, servants, oxen, asses, land, authority, power, none of those things could save his soul. But the hedge that remained, the Spirit of the Most High, the greatest hedge of all, that was the one that Job needed preserved. So let us learn from this. Yes, we may suffer, but our suffering is not in vain. The Most High has always promised us that He will turn our suffering into reward. Whatever happens in our lives, He changes it, He recycles it, and it becomes our source of power. Your suffering is significant. Yah knows it, and He will do something about it. It may not be in your timing, but He will do something about it. Just hold on to your hedge. And if you don't have His internal hedge, seek for it, because Satan will come and try those exterior hedges. But if you grab hold of the hedges that guard your heart and soul, you can still say, "It is well with my soul." You can still fall on your knees and worship just like Job. Finally, I leave you with this, Romans 8:18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Let us pray. Our Father, You alone are the hedge around us. You are the force field over the hearts of Your people. As we endure challenging times, help us to face it with the right mindset and the right heart posture. Help us to remember that You will reward every tear. You will heal every wound, and You will turn our suffering into reward. Take out any seeds in our hearts that do not belong. Uproot anything that the enemy has planted. Help us not to water seeds that are not of You. Purify our hearts, purge us, and strengthen us for this battle. For Yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Hallelujah. If you were blessed by this video, please like, subscribe, and don't forget to share. Of course, any donation is greatly appreciated. Pray for this ministry to help plant and water, and that Yah sees fit to give the increase. Hallelujah.